Hello and welcome back to the walkthrough of Fantasy version. In this episode we're going to get the Witch Key, so that would be quite helpful. So the first place we're going to go is Sage City. We deposited the shiny Bidoof from last time. This character is Raya. She's new to version 2 and she's extremely useful. She's mainly in the Wizard's Tower. I'll show you where she is within the tower in a minute. But what she does now, she gives you the XP share, which is very useful. It's the same as the sort of Gen 6 one. You can turn it on and off. What we're doing now is we're turning it off, just because I thought that our team were fairly over-leveled anyway, so I thought I might as well turn it off. Here she is within the Wizard's Tower. She's in the first floor or second floor for you Americans. She does training, and she also changes how you sort of physically look. She has more services as you progress further in the game. But the one that's free is the change your appearance, and the training one costs quite a bit, but you basically fight a bunch of blissies. So you can get loads of XP off that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go into Mystic Cave, which you can see is to the east of Sage City, and you need the Necromancer key. And we're going to catch a Zubat called Bat, because we're so original. And what we decided to do is also decide to deposit Bird, just because he was a bit higher level than the rest of them, and we wanted to train them all a bit more evenly. So next part, you go south of Sage City into Mangrove Swamp. This witch is just there to be annoying and block the way. The next battle you'll face is the Rival, but this is obviously the route to him. I've bleeped out the wild battles at any time I've gone back to heal. You saw the Pokemon of that witch there. So the Rival is it's a bit of a surprise. It's in that empty patch there. That's where he turns up. So the battle, I think I lost this once, and then on the second time I managed to do it. Nope, third time by the looks of it. Oh no, Surfetch was giving Hattie a hard time with first impression, so I came up with a different strategy, and I think this is the right one. So we sent out Bat first. We made Surfetch move first, so he couldn't use his first impression, and then we switched out to Hattie. Of course, Hattie's psychic, so it should be easy against the fairy type. Also, Surfetch is confused. I don't know if it doesn't hit itself, but we hit it with a Psybeam, and I think it's a 2-hit KO. Obviously, we're a bit worried about how Hattie was doing, especially with its defense quite low down from Rock Smash. It uses Iron Defense, which is pointless, because obviously Hattie's a magic attacker. Sand Attack could be annoying, but we managed to get through it. So Bat levels up, and then we move on to Dewott, which is obviously the starter. It would be a different one based on which one you picked, obviously. I picked Lilypad. Obviously went for the obvious grass versus water combination, and I think Lilypad takes care of it fairly well, but apparently not. For some reason we decided to switch out to Bat, which is odd. I don't quite understand why we did that. It heals, we confuse it. We then go and switch back to Lilypad again for some... I don't know why we did it. I think it's because it used Razor Shell and reduced the defense, so we were worried it would hit us. But this time we've sent Lilypad back with its defense back to normal, and we're going for the Mega Drain. Luckily it missed its Razor Shell again. So, oh no, it seemed to survive that hit. Another Razor Shell, didn't reduce defense, but barely did that much damage. We got rid of Dewott. All that's left now is Clefairy. I don't remember its moveset off the top of my head. I think it's quite annoying. We'll see some of its moves in a minute. But we sent out Bat. And it's obviously using Poison Fang. Hopefully should get rid of it. It's got Disarming Voice and a bunch of other rather irritating moves. It can be annoying if you don't have someone decent there to counter it. And that's the Rival dealt with. Fairly, it looked quite easy, but it obviously took 4 attempts. This is obviously Zubat evolving into Golbat. It's pretty great Pokemon on runs on this run. You'll see later on how useful it is. So the Rival goes off in a huff as per usual, and then we carry on through the swamp. This trainer's obviously got Krogunk and Poliwag. I think it's a compulsory trainer. There's a nice block there, so that obviously saves a lot of time for next time. And then we carry on past this part. This part of the swamp, the northeast, they block it until they get rid of the, I think it's the totem, sorry, not totem, the dark Pokemon, Grimsnarl, who's coming up in a second. Who just basically keep training, knocking the wild Pokemon out. This is obviously when you're first introduced to the head witch. You don't fight her, but instead she summons Grimsnarl, who you will fight instead. This one, I think, took a few attempts, but obviously we'll show you how we got through that as well. She walks off. You can't carry on past that area until you defeat Grimsnarl, and as you see, it kept defeating us when it was at about halfway to a quarter health, so it wasn't as hard as the Haxorus, but we kept losing, so we decided to bring out Bird again to help us with this fight. And I think this is where we managed to succeed. So we had the two flying types up first, and we had it confused, and then we honed claws with Bird to obviously get the attack and accuracy up. So luckily we managed to get it to hit itself. It can be quite annoying with its 2 attacks, and also it uses bulk up and power up punch, which just raises its attack to like insanely high levels. So that's extremely unhelpful when it does that. But if you can get it to hit itself in confusion, or maybe paralyze it, or burns are useful as well because it does significantly less damage. So we're just sort of healing and going for the Zubat that it summons, which we managed to OHKO quite easily, but thanks to Hone Claws. Grimsnarl, so it uses Spirit Break, which could do... I keep forgetting which one. I think False Surrender's the dark one and Spirit Break's the fairy one, but they both do quite a substantial amount of damage at this portion of the game. We managed to poison it quite late on, because in some of the other attempts it gets poisoned early on, but we got the Poison Fang when we were attacking the Grimsnarl with Golbat. Calls Morgrem, which is easy if you've got a poison type. Again, you just Poison Fang on that one. I think, yeah, it faked out Bird, which is obviously annoying, and then False Surrender then takes it out. So do not underestimate the sort of attack potential of some of these moves. Hattie is in a weird position because it's very vulnerable to Grimsnarl, but also it's quite useful at suppressing it because it's got Play Nice, and it's also got the fairy move. I think, is it Disarming Voice, or is it the other one? I should probably know our own move sets. But yeah, Disarming Voice. So that's basically what we're just sort of chopping away. It has a Salak Berry, which I don't know how detrimental that could be depending on your team. If you're outspeeding it, it's obviously not good news. But if it was faster than you anyway, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Lilypad's particularly not that useful in this fight because it's against a bunch of poison types and stuff like that. But nonetheless, we sent him out towards the end just because we thought that it would be better to have second to last than last. But it gets taken care of pretty quickly, annoyingly. So now we've got some Golbat on Golbat action as well as the Grimsnarl there. Send out Dragon. Dragon, I think, if it gets hit with Spirit Break, it goes down pretty instantly. But it's got a few useful moves in its arsenal. It managed to learn Dragon Claw not long ago. For some reason, Grimsnarl uses Power Up Punch. It's good because it didn't knock out Dragon, but it's bad because its attacks rose. So we go for the Astonish again. So we're just sort of whittling down the HP of Golbat and hoping that Grimsnarl doesn't basically OHKO our entire team. Obviously, this takes a few attempts if you're unlucky. So Spirit Break. Again, don't know why it did that rather than False Surrender. So we then use the potion. And what we're doing at this point is we're just waiting for the poison to take care of it. So we're just going to keep using potions on Bat. And hoping it doesn't get OHKO'd, and that's exactly what happened. We managed to poison it, and we beat the Dark Grimsnarl, which isn't very happy. What she's going to do is she's going to go down to Babbling Brook to the south of Mangrove Swamp. Directions shown right now. So now we're in Babbling Brook, and we're going to take on the Head Witch, but first you've got to get through the map. Obviously, the ice cubes are helpful at this point. That one has a Roselia, or Roselia, however you want to pronounce it. That is not an apricorn bush, it's actually a berry bush, as you can see from the footage. It respawns every so often. So that piece of ice is there. This is just where the berry tree was. We've not really cut far. You just sort of carry on around the swamp, sort of anti-clockwise. That wizard's optional, as you can see. We avoid it and instead pick up this item. Full heal. We go around this wizard here that's about to come up is not optional. He's got Hatena and Misdreavus. So it's not too much. This is which turns, so is optional. We decided not to fight her. There's the Head Witch, but I strongly recommend what you do instead before you fight her is you sort out this ice block. and then that way you can go back and heal, and then you just go through this sort of quick route here. It looks like it's blocked, but it's not. And we kept losing to the head witch, because who doesn't? Luckily in version 2 on normal mode, it's a lot easier to deal with her, because she's not got a toxic Krogan. Instead it's just a Krogan. I devolved it. And what you do is you just send out Hatena or another psychic type. You just psychic and it's down in one hit pretty much. You just got to make sure to tank its hit, because it does have Sucker Punch, so look out for that. Poltergeist, this one's probably the second most annoying in my opinion, but this one I just sent out Bat, and its attacks didn't do much, and I just kept using Astonish, so it activated weak armor, making it hit more and more every time. Shadow Ball's an absolute pain, even against Bat, which is pretty bulky. And plus, if you get the special, the magic defense drop on it, that's you. You've just got to reset and try again at that point. That's what I did. You might be able to tank it if it had higher magic defense, but instead we just managed on that particular time to not get the drop. So instead we sent out Lilypad so that we could heal the Bat. Lilypad's not that useful in this fight in particular, but and then when we sent out Dragon, I think we sent out Dragon to use either to heal at Bat or to use Bite on it, but it didn't work and got OHKO'd by Shadow Ball instead. So this is what I meant when I said that Shadow Ball's extremely irritating. And then we still didn't send out Bat, we sent out Bird instead. I think we were trying to OHKO it with Power Trip, so then when the next one comes out we could easily deal with it. I think I was thinking a few moves ahead. And luckily, Poltergeist didn't decide to use Shadow Ball, instead used Giga Drain twice, which is terrible against Bird. So here's the main annoying one, Swoobat. What a pain this Pokemon is. It has Calm Mind and Simple, so when it uses Calm Mind, its magic attack and magic defense are raised by 2 instead of 1. It's also got Air Cutter, which has a high crit rate, which is incredibly irritating as well. So it uses Air Cutter, and we Astonish. It also has Stored Power, and if it uses Stored Power after it's used Calm Mind, it'll OHKO pretty much anything that's not a Dark type. So we just keep, hitting away at it using Astonish and praying it doesn't use Calm Mind, which is just used. So I was probably a bit scared at this point. And then instead of using Stored Power, which would have OHKO does, it decides to use Air Cutter, which leaves us on 2 HP. So we were quite lucky, and we managed to take it down. Florges, this is probably the easiest one, but also it's not to be underestimated either. Obviously Fairy type, it's got Moonblast, which hits a lot. So what we decided to do was give our Poison type a heal. Poison type is extremely useful in this fight as well, just mainly for defensive reasons, but also for this Florges as well. So I mean, the odds are looking quite good. We're 4 levels higher. Poison, fine. We just got to tank this one hit, which we do manage to do because it's Fairy versus Poison. And we managed to take out Florges relatively easily. But if you don't have a good defense to this one, you might struggle with that. So we dealt with the Head Witch, probably infamously one of the most annoying battles in version 1. In hard mode, it's just as difficult as it always was, but in normal mode, I've made it quite a bit easier. This is a Gren Wizard, and what he'll do is he'll give you the Broomstick, which is basically Fly. Very useful item. I strongly recommend that you register it on the key item, so then when you press F or F5, and I think there's another button as well, you can just use it within 2 or 3 clicks or button presses, and that is that part of the walkthrough done. And obviously this gate here you can open now because you've got the witch key. So I'll see you next time for the 3rd key. Thank you.